I hereby call the Brockton School Committee to order, it being Tuesday, March 18th, 2025, 7 p.m. We're at the George M. Romm Little Theater here at Brockton High School, which is 470 Forest Ave, Brockton, Mass. 02301. I'll read into the record the following. Dear visitors, welcome to a meeting of the Brockton School Committee. This is the agenda that will be discussed this evening. Please note that hearing of visitors is included. If you have a statement or question, please give your name to the secretary. Mrs. Campbell has given me the official sign-in list. In addition to attending, the public can view this meeting via Comcast Channel 8 and also the 1071 HD version and online via the following link, which is www.youtube.com/TheBrocktonChannels. At this time, I would ask us to please stand and salute the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will establish a quorum by calling the roll. Mrs. Sullivan? Here. Mr. Gomes?
Here.
Mr. Vega?
Here.
Ms. Oliver?
Here.
Vice Chairman?
Here.
Ms. Azek's not here at this time. Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
I'm here as well. We have established a quorum. We also have, of course, Superintendent Tahiliani, who is the Clerk Secretary of the Brockton School Committee. We will go to Agenda 2, Hearing of Visitors. I'll read into the record, pursuant to School Committee policy, each person requesting to speak shall be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes. Since this period is limited to 15 minutes, a total of 5 people shall be permitted to speak on a first-come, first-served basis. We actually have 2 individuals that have signed in this evening. We have Mr. Jim Stapleton and Ms. Amanda Gomez, and it's relative to achievements. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone from the school committee. First of all, I want to thank you guys for what you've been through the last couple of years and how the school system has rebounded. It's been fantastic. I'm representing an organization we started at South Middle School a couple of years ago. We now call it SOAP, South Opportunity and Achievement Plan, and we're very fortunate at South. If you get a chance, come on down and visit. The mayor's coming in, others have been in. It's been a remarkable turnaround. We have the best leadership in the city, the principal and the vice principal and the associate principal. It's been fantastic what we've seen happen and transpire. As far as our group goes, I want to invite you. I'll be sending a memo to the superintendent and to the secretary soon so we get the dates. We have a couple events coming up at South. First of all, we just got recently a grant for over $20,000 to help our kids. Recently, we were also able to purchase a lot of books. The English teachers are purchasing nice reading books for the kids on the side to take home with them, etc. We have a couple of major events this year. In May, we'll have our 3rd annual gala. It's going to be May 17th down at Brockton Cafe this year. And in June, I'm starting a different program. Amanda and I are starting a program. We call it TOSS. And I would love this program to also be maybe replicated elsewhere. It's 25 outstanding South students. That's where the acronym comes from. And what it's going to mean is the 25 kids are going to get, they've been selected and will be selected based on academics and behavior, participation, student council, athletics, etc. And they're going to receive citations. I spoke to Senator Brady, Representative Mendes, Councilor Griffin, who represents the school. I'm going to reach out to Mayor Sullivan. We'll get these kids citations in the school committee. Citations are going to get an individual plaque, and then at the end of the event, we're going to have a group picture, which will go into our school's Hall of Fame. So as each successive year we go on, it's nice for the kids to see people who came to South 60, 70 years ago, in the case of Mr. Louisi, 70-something years ago when South first opened. But it'll also be nice for the kids to see classmates from a year earlier or their brother from 2 years ago. We have a few other events coming up, a professional day. We're going to invite a lot of different people in, doctors, lawyers, nurses, bankers, mayors. We're going to invite different people in from all these different parts of the city to show our kids some of the things that we have going on. And we also have a big event that I'm going to try to plan and get it settled out. South's 70th birthday coming up in September. We want to do a super party. But Ms. Gomez, go ahead.
I just wanted to speak about the turnaround that I've seen at South since coming back. It's been a complete 180 from when I started in the end of 2019. So SOAP has really helped the students. I've seen the behavior changed. Swearing has drastically declined, less phone usage, and the kids are held to a higher standard, and they're reaching those high standards, which was the goal. So Thank you.
Thank you. I just will say this, 39 years of teaching, 29 years in Brockton. I've never seen a school transform so much. I think we're part of it. Again, the administration, the stability you guys are providing, and each year after COVID becomes a little stronger, but it's really remarkable. In 39 years, I've never seen a school turn around as fast as South is this year. So thank you.
Well, on behalf of the school committee, we want to thank both of you for your commitment and your dedication. I mean, it's really amazing what you do each and every day, so thank you. Thank you. That actually concludes the hearing of visitors. We'll go to Agenda 3, Superintendent Tahiliani, report of the superintendent. Superintendent has told me that unfortunately our student representative is not here this evening, and if nobody objects, we do have left field here tonight, which is the project manager relative to Brockton High. I know some of the folks have actually traveled quite a distance. Superintendent doesn't have any objection to take them out of order. Do any of you have any objections to take them out of order? Could I just have a motion to take Agenda 3B out of order?
Motion to take 3B out of order.
Second.
Second. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. Perfect timing. Good evening, left field. We know some of you traveled quite a distance. Welcome, and we appreciate you being here tonight. This is a regular school committee meeting. The floor is yours. It is televised on local community access, so you do need to come up to speak at the podium. And again, we are really ready, willing, and able to listen to you all tonight. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Rogers. I'm the principal of Left Field. We have happily been hired to help manage the new Brockton High School. We're here tonight in front of school committee to introduce ourselves and answer any questions you might have around the project. So Left Field was established a little over 18 years ago. We have just under 50 employees now. We have significant MSBA experience in managing high schools. Some of our high school experience includes, you'll see it later, but Revere, Waltham, Wakefield, Agawam. We have a number of different high schools that we're doing now, so that's where our experience lies. We have offices in Boston, Providence, Rockland, Worcester, and Manchester. And as a firm, we have both of our legs kind of squarely, both of our feet squarely in the educational sector. We do a lot of MSBA work. We do a lot of higher ed work. This is what gets us up in the morning, is working, for the benefit of districts around schools. So we're very excited to be doing that. We're doing about $6 billion worth of construction work right now, and we have a full breadth of services that we provide as part of an OPM. Kevin, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Kevin Sullivan, and I would be serving as the project director and day-to-day contact. In that role, I'll be working with Alyssa, Brian, who was actually in a car accident tonight. He's okay, but he couldn't make it, and the rest of the team to support this project. A little bit about myself. Prior to joining Left Field, I worked for another OPM firm for a couple years, specializing in K through 12, and prior to that, I actually worked for the Mass School Building Authority for over 13 years, working on 150 school construction projects. And with that, I'll turn it over to Alyssa.
Mr. Sullivan, just for the record, we are not related.
We are not related.
Good evening, everyone. Alyssa Shatani. I'll be the senior project manager working alongside Kevin and Brian on a day-to-day basis. I also specialize in K through 12 work. As an OPM, I came previously from a large construction management firm where I spent a lot of time in the field. Really excited to bring my skills to Brockton and work in such a diverse community.
Adele Sands. I am a former school superintendent, and while I was superintendent, I'm the education liaison for Left Field. While I was superintendent, I oversaw a 6-building renovation and new construction project that required 4 mayors and 16 select boards to approve before we could start construction. So I'm very well versed in this work. Francois and I are the special teams unit, and we will talk to you a little bit about what we do in a little while.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Francois Exelome, and I will be serving as the community liaison and assistant PM on the project. My background is 2 decades in higher education, from admissions all the way to registrar, and just really have a good feel for higher education and obviously the children and the next steps for them to take. Throughout my process, I've also worked in different endeavors as far as helping communities navigate the college system, which brought me here to Brockton in one of my capacities, and I'm happy to be back and looking forward to helping out as much as possible.
The last thing I want to say about the makeup of the team is kind of on the top row is your core group, your day-to-day project management team. And on the bottom part of the slide is what I like to call our team of experts. We have Adele as our educational liaison, Francois as our community liaison. We have an MSBA expert, an MEP specialist, a move management specialist, a constructability expert, a cost manager, and a site representative. So for such a large project like Brockton, it's going to take a team effort, and that's the way we've approached this. This is just a quick slide showing our experience working with other districts. On the left side is cities and towns that Left Field has worked with, and on the right is some of the larger public authorities we've had experience working with doing significant construction projects. So these are some of the high schools I was mentioning. We do high schools as a living. We have managed Revere High School, Durfee High School, and Waltham High School, all ranging costs between $260 and $500 million. So we're used to doing projects on urban sites with highly complex sites to work on. So this is, as I said, this is what we do on a day-to-day basis, and we're comfortable supporting the city of Brockton with the high school.
Yep, so, yeah. I'm just going to spend a moment or so talking about this site. MSBA requires that we, as part of the feasibility study schematic design process, consider and study several site options. This is the most obvious one, and we spent some time looking at it, not to really make any determinations, but really to show our due diligence. And at a first glance, this feels like a very open site, but we've obviously, as you can see, there's some limitations related to existing fields that are currently being used, AZF rink, the flag pond. So again, we're not making any determinations. We're in the process in bringing on an architect, and once they're on board, they'll help us study this site in more depth and other sites, and it'll allow us to determine most cost-effective, educationally appropriate solution, and then really talk about constructability and phasing logistics. So again, haven't made any determinations, but just really wanted to show some of the stuff we're starting to think about. And now Alyssa and I are going to talk about the schedule for a moment. I'm going to turn it over to her, but before I do that, as Jim indicated, we're really here to just start a dialogue. This is your project. We're here at the very beginning of this process so that we get your questions, your concerns, your ideas, your feedback. And we're going to continue to come back so that you're part of this process. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa.
Thank you. So right now, we're actually in the forming the project team module with the MSBA. So as you know, we're partnering with them on this project. Right now, we're going through designer selection. So we've received 3 submissions. We're in the process now of reviewing them. In the April DSP meeting, we are going to discuss their submissions. Right now, we're doing extensive work to reach out to references, look through their proposals very closely, see what ideas they have for the project, their vision, and then they'll get invited to interview in the second DSP meeting on April 22nd. And then we go through negotiating a contract with the first ranked designer. After that, we move into feasibility study. That's going to be for the next 12 months. During that time, we're going to go through all the preliminary design programming, which is a phase where we're going to go through educational programming. We're going to meet with educators. We're going to meet with teachers, staff, facilities. We're going to meet with the building committee, and we're going to get a consensus on what is the educational program for Brockton? What does it look like for the school? How do we envision that the school looks, feels, is designed? And that's the basis of moving into what does the space look like? What's the square footage? And then following the MSBA guidelines, we will actually figure out what's the square footage of each of the spaces. Then we're going to move into the preferred site. So that's going to have to look, as Kevin mentioned, through doing just a code upgrade, but we're also going to have to look at some available sites within Brockton, and then also the current building if we were to do an add or addition renovation option. Once we decide on that site and we decide on the educational programming, then we move into schematic design. Once we have a preferred site chosen, and then we build out the actual building, right? The design, the layout, picking the HVAC systems, meeting with the engineers, being informed about how does this building operate, what are the life cycle cost analysis. These are all things that we'll look at during the schematic design. And this is to get us to the point of going to the board of directors at the MSBA with an approved scope and budget. So at that point, in December of 2026, we would actually agree on what is this project going to cost, and what is that schedule going to look like, whether we partner with a construction manager to move forward through the rest of the design, and then we go for a city council vote and a debt exclusion vote after that. So the entire process is about 24 months going through the feasibility study, led by us. And I don't know if you have anything to add, Kevin. But.
No, I think you covered it. I think, we are bringing an architect on board. They're a huge stakeholder. So once they are under contract, we're going to review the schedule with them, with the city, with school committee, and the MSBA, because they have to sign, they have to be on board. There's a lot of their milestones that actually drive this schedule. And in terms of funding, we're not there yet. We don't know how this is going to be funded or exactly when. We're going to work with everyone to determine how and when that happens. But this is just a high-level schedule to, to show you all that this takes a long time, and we'll be adjusting this and giving you updates as we move through it.
This is the fun part. So, student engagement. There are multiple ways that we actually involve the students in this process. And if you looked the slide to the left, the picture to the left, some of you may recognize the former Commissioner of Education. And the person in the yellow pants welding is me. And that was me bringing welders in to meet with our student welders. We brought the professional welders who were working at Capeway Roofing came in. So there are multiple ways that, and Francois is going to talk about it a little bit more. We bring them in during the educational planning to meet, to talk about their programs, to talk about their needs, to talk about what's missing, but also we go to them and we find opportunities to go to them.
Before we move into how we move into go and speak with the students, just a quick story. I actually got the opportunity to speak to the Brockton middle schoolers this past summer, and what was very exciting for me was how well the teachers really wanted them to be engaged and allowed me to speak in their native language. So many of them in that particular session were Haitian, and I speak Haitian Creole. And when I first started speaking, it was one of those, this is interesting, but it kind of went over their head. But when I was able to effectively communicate with them in their own language, their eyes lit up, there were questions flying around, and it was just a beautiful thing to see. And I think that really speaks to the spirit of how Brockton works, right? The multicultural and the ability for us to be able to meet people where they're at and really effectively communicate. And I think with the way that we are, going to engage the students, it will bring a lot of that communication piece to it in order for them to really feel comfortable and share their true ideas. And one of the things, programs that you see here, Browning the Green Space, are one of the organizations and nonprofit organizations that we work with in order to really engage with different stakeholders, including students and families. And it is an area that we're really proud and excited to be a part of.
I can also let you know that we are so excited that we've jumped the gun and we've already been meeting with Principal McCaskill about all the opportunities. So we're working very well with doing that. All right. And this is also another piece that Francois is going to go into more depth, but we know how important communication is for this project. We know that it is important for us to have frequent communication, effective communication, and make sure we get the real truth out there, because we all know that when there's a void of communication, people will decide for themselves what's actually happening. And it's very difficult to backtrack and try and curb this misinformation, if you will, once it's out of the barn. So we work diligently to ensure that the community knows what's happening every step of the way.
Absolutely. So as Adele mentioned, misinformation travels 10 times faster than the right information, right? And so as we share the different modalities in which we would use to communicate with every stakeholder, we have our project website, monthly flyers, weekly project facts, survey monkeys, all the different ways in which we can, communicate. We also, what is really exciting is our project website, which we will update with all the information, but it will be in various languages. And so we want to make sure, as we mentioned earlier, that folks are getting the information the best way that they can decipher it. And typically it's in their native tongue, and therefore they'll have that opportunity on our website.
So we meet with the school building committee on an ongoing basis. That's kind of the group of stakeholders that we're, most tightly involved with. We understand there's some members of the school committee as part of the school building committee. And we're here in front of you tonight to answer your questions directly, to see if we can get in a rhythm meeting with the school committee directly, so we can help keep you informed. So if there are any questions, we'd love to answer them tonight to help you as you start to get involved in the project.
Jim, before we take questions, could you just do some further clarification? So we're in the feasibility study. The $2.5 million has already been authorized. Last week, I actually spoke to the MFOB, which was the AG's office, the Treasurer's office, the Auditor's office, and Department of Revenue. They unanimously consented and agreed to that, so they have the full faith and credit of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts backing that 2.5 borrowing as well, so that's all squared away. My question would be so myself, the superintendent, and then Ms. Oliver as the school committee member, there's 3 of us that are going to be on a board with the MSBA to interview the architects. For those that are part of the committee, those here and those on TV, could you just explain that? Because a lot of people wouldn't understand that or know that. Thank you.
Sure. So the designer selection process is all dictated by the MSBA. They have a panel of 13 members that regularly rotate, and those are professionals, architects, engineers, and MSBA staff. So what we're prepared to do now is give you all the information, have you do some due diligence yourself to look through the submissions, form an opinion on how did they gauge the vision for the school, what type of experience do they have, are they financially stable, what are their references saying, what is their representative active workload, can they take on a project of this size, and we present all that information to you. We discuss it, we talk about your findings, and then we bring that to the MSBA. On the April 8th, we'll have an opportunity for the 3 DSP members representing Brockton to meet publicly with the MSBA DSP panel. And you will discuss who you want to bring to the interview. So we have 3 submissions. They are allowed to interview all 3 or maybe 2. And then that second meeting that we meet 2 weeks later is when we invite them to do an interview. We also get to collaborate with the MSBA to ask them 5 questions that we want them to answer after the interview. So this will be an opportunity to see what is their vision for Brockton, how are they going to attack this project, and again, what their experience will be. And then the top-ranked designer is the one that we go into contract negotiation with.
Thank you. Just one more thing, just again for those that aren't aware of this. So myself, the vice chair and superintendent, we have met with you on a regular basis. The MSBA meets with us quarterly right now. Allison Sullivan, not related to you, Kevin, or to me, or to Tim, or to Judy, just a popular last name. She is the point person for MSBA on behalf of the city of Brockton. But now that the feasibility study has begun and we're doing the due diligence and then the architects will be selected, 3 applicants, you have asked us if you could come here on a regular basis, like a standing agenda item. We will take a vote tonight as a formal board to accept that. I think initially your suggestion was every other month, just to kind of give some updates initially, and then we can change that. But I just wanted to let you know, myself and Tony and Priya appreciated that offer, and we're going to take you up on that tonight. I'm going to open it up now. I think Mr. Sullivan had a question.
Yes, I had 2 questions. Has it been decided which way they're going to go, whether they're going to renovate this building or tear it down?
Yep. So the short answer is no. MSBA as a huge stakeholder has a very lengthy process, and they require that we, as a group, once we have an architect on board, we're going to study a code repair, just a base update, and just as a baseline to see how much would it cost just to fix this school, right? Bring it up to code. Then they also, as more viable options, make us look at the costs and other implications for an addition renovation and a new school. And we basically go through, what is the most cost-effective, educationally appropriate solution, and we will be presenting it, obviously, to school committee, school building committee, city council at times, and determining as a group and as a team of consultants on what is the best solution. So that's going to take a little while because we have to show that this is the best bang for your buck, not only for the city of Brockton, but also for the MSBA.
And you know as well that we're here to teach the kids, but we have to have a place that they can come into.
Understood.
If they decide to tear this building down, we have no place to put the kids.
Absolutely, and I think, as we're going through a number of different options to determine, whether it's going to be an addition renovation or a new school, disrupting children is at the forefront. If it's a phased occupied building, that's different than a new construction down the street, right? So those are all the factors that we're going to be, taking a hard look at and really going through pros and cons with this group.
Just point of information on that, Mr. Sullivan. It was brought up to MSBA, and the beauty of Brockton High is, of course, we have the 4 buildings, right? And the magnitude and the square footage of this, they wouldn't be able to close the whole building and do a renovation for 4 years or 5 years. They would do it in phases. So they might start on the red building, or they might start in azure or green. So we've already started those conversations.
Okay, all right.
The only difference between us and other municipalities is we don't have a lot of land here on this site. A lot of the new school buildings are being built either in front of the existing building or behind the existing building, right? And then once they can transfer it, they rip the other one down. We don't have that capability. So we're looking at all options, but MSBA, one of the liaisons assigned, Chris, actually is a graduate of Brockton High, and we're just lucky to have him on board from MSBA as well.
One final question, how long does the project take once you start?
That's a great question. So it could, it really depends on if you do an addition renovation or a new building. There's a lot of variables that go into that. So the next 2 years, at least 2 years, are going to be feasibility study, schematic design. Then after that, there's probably another year of design before you go into bidding. So you're really close to 3 years out from even starting construction. And then depending on what type of construction you do, is this a phased longer-term addition renovation? Is this a new building? It could take another 2 to 3 or 4 years, depending on it. So, this is going to take a long time.
You're talking about 7 years, roughly?
Yeah, absolutely.
And one final question, where are you guys from? I know you came a long way, but from where?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're a local, if you want to talk about. Yeah.
Kevin and I both live in the South Shore. Our office is in Boston, so we consider ourselves to be a local firm.
Thank you.
What's the nickname of the city of Brockton? All right, you're good. You pass. Mr. Sullivan, you good?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm all
We have
set.
a few more. Ms. Oliver, please.
Not really a question, but just a statement. I really do, hi Kevin, nice to see you in person. Do appreciate the students' engagement. how we're bringing students to get involved, especially we have a lot of students that want to go into architect and also in engineering. So I think this is a great opportunity for us students to get firsthand knowledge of how everything is put together and then the end project is. So I really, really appreciate that part, that we're getting our students involved. I think that will be a whole different educational purpose for them that we are going to be able to provide for our students. Also, I do like the communication for all the residents, because I know it's a lot of money that we are going to be putting into a brand new, either a brand new school or renovated, but I think it's something that has been waiting for a very long time. So I think that the narrative should always be positive, not always false, and I like the fact you guys are going to combat the false negative that might be put out there and basically try to, sway residents not to approve this, not to be okay with this, but I think we need a new school if it's all new or renovate, but it's due time. I graduated in '97, and it was not that great back then, but I think our students do deserve, the future students of Brockton High deserve a better school and up to code, especially health-wise up to code. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Any additional comments or questions at this time? Mr. Vega, please.
Thank you for introducing yourself in the presentation. I just want to start off by saying thank you for your attention to language. What Francois mentioned, that experience, that is every day in Brockton and Brockton schools, and so I can't stress enough how much I appreciate you leading with that. You mentioned that the group that's going to form will establish a criteria for the design firm that we go with. Like, do you guys operate with any sort of pre-existing criteria template that you present to the group, and then we work off of that, or is it all from scratch?
So-
Just to clarify,
Yeah, go
do
ahead.
you mean like a criteria established to bring on the architect?
Correct.
The whole process? Okay.
Yes.
So with designer selection, we use a request for services template that's written by the MSBA. So there are objectives in there and goals that they need to reach. However, when we get the submissions, we do a deeper dive. We look at what recent work have they been awarded with the MSBA? What is their current workload? We look at their references, their project experience, their financial stability, how much staff do they have available to do the project. So we give you that deeper dive information other than just what they submitted.
Have they worked in urban sites? Have they worked on projects over 400 or 500 million, right? So those are all criteria that we put in this RFS so that we get the candidates, they're appropriate candidates.
I don't know if this is a question or a statement so much, but in these conversations, obviously we're a large school, we're an urban school, we have a magnificent athletics program, we also have a world-class arts program. So so I think I speak for a lot of people in saying that like that needs to be really thought about. I think the programs that have come out of Brockton High around the arts are long overdue to really be celebrated in a way that that this project may bring. Thank you for your time.
And I'll let you talk about that, but top of mind, I just want to encourage everyone here. The MSBA's designer selection panel process, it's an open meeting and it's a Zoom meeting. So there's one, as Alyssa indicated, there's one on April 8th. It's basically the 13 members, including the 3 representatives from the city and school, doing a page turn, talking about their findings and what they liked or didn't like about each of the 3 firms that we're going to be reviewing. On April 22nd, whether it's 2 or 3 firms, they're going to do their interviews, and they're going to really show the MSBA's designer selection panel in the city what their vision is for this project. And that's their opportunity to talk about the different programs in the city and student engagement, in the school and student engagement. And I would really encourage everyone, if you can, please watch, even if it's just for a little while. I think it's worthwhile.
I'm going to just add a little bit to that, because there is a piece of this, which is the educational visioning plan. And at that time, this is when the architect brings in an educational planner, and that person leads multiple conversations with students, with every teacher, with the administration. And what we try and do is start off, and your superintendent the high school principal will be helpful with this, because what we find is that teachers have spent such a long time doing so much with so little, that when we get to the educational visioning piece, they sit and they say, can we have air? Can we have electricity? Can I get a window? So when we want to start off with them understanding that's a given, technology will work, all of those things. What are the big visions that you have for education for the Brockton students who are so deserving? We all follow Brockton, LinkedIn and Stand Up Brockton. I follow Kevin. I watch everything that's posted. These kids are doing incredible things, incredible, in all areas, all aspects. David Hutchinson's now coming in with his organization, which is going to do an enormous amount. But this is an opportunity for everybody to get in there and say, if we had this, I could do this for the Brockton students.
Mr. Vega, you good? Any other questions or comments, Vice Chairman, please?
Thank you. I know I've been in a lot of these meetings, but if you could just touch upon what is MSBA eligible, for example, like the pool. We have a phenomenal planetarium here. I know some of my colleagues and members of the community, also educators of, our literacy is down to like, how could we implement a library? That's one of the biggest things here. So what would be the reimbursement? Would that be eligible? When we, the design team is looking at, okay, they have a planetarium. Are we able to replicate that? Are we going to be able to make it bigger? Do we have enough space? So can you just touch upon like what is actually going to be reimbursed, not reimbursed, or what that cost will be? Because obviously there's a huge cost to whatever project that we go, renovation or total build out of a new high school.
Sure, I'll take a stab at it, Jim. You can jump in if you want to. So MSBA has a standard space summary template, which obviously doesn't, every school and every city and town is different. So we'll work with them and we'll work with you all to look at the unique spaces you have here. They have specific caps. They have a cost per square foot cap. Right now it's $605, including site work, and the cost of construction for a new school is over $800. So those are some of the caps that we deal with. There are, legal fees and other things they don't pay for. And then as we go through, as Adele talked about the educational visioning, a lot of their determinations are really how that space is used. And so we are always going to try and find ways to make sure that, if this is an important part of your educational programming, that MSBA understands that and they participate in it. I'd love to tell you, like, this is what's going to be eligible, this is what's going to be ineligible. Unfortunately, until we go through that process, we don't know how, what they're going to determine, because it may change, depending from town to town, city to city, depending on how a specific space is used. What we will do is in real time, as we're getting that feedback from MSBA, whether it's new or ad reno, we're going to be able to show you, like, yes, you can have this space, MSBA is not going to pay for it. Or they're actually going to, in an ad reno, they're going to help you fix some of this space. If you want to add anything to that.
I don't have a lot to add, but typically there's a rate set by the MSBA, right, for reimbursement for the city of Brockton. And typically the effective rate, after you take out the ineligible cost that you mentioned, is something like 60% of the actual rate. So there's going to be, a considerable amount that will be deemed ineligible, but we're going to work with the team here to make as much eligible in this project as possible. It's a negotiation a lot of times with the MSBA, and we'll work with them closely to get as much into this project as we possibly can.
Appreciate that. So we're all excited. This is a long time coming, and we've been denied a few times, and now it's actually moving forward. But this is going to be a collaboration of all the elected officials, both city council, school committee, and actually lobbying our constituents to make sure that this is actually funded, because it's greatly needed. And Brockton High is just one of the schools, and we have other schools that we do need to address and how we get there, and also the finances have to be there. So I'm confident that the residents will support this 100% when it comes time to actually voting for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Any other questions at this time? I said at the beginning that Left Field has offered to come here on a regular basis. The will of the committee, my suggestion would be to support what they said. They'd like to come every other month, at least initially, and then we could always change that. Is there a motion relative to that? It would be a standing agenda item. It might not be the whole team, but we'll have somebody from Left Field at least. Most.
Motion,
Yeah, well, that's good.
motion to have the company Left Field come every other month
Yep.
to update the committee,
The standing agenda item.
the standing agenda
Thank you.
item.
That's form of a motion. I'm sorry, who made the second?
Second?
Okay. Motion, just for the record, made by Mrs. Sullivan, properly seconded by Mr. Sullivan. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. If you oppose, raise your hand. It passes unanimous. Thank you very much. We look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
I'm going to leave a couple business cards. They have my cell phone. I want to encourage everyone here, if you have any questions, just call anytime.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Drive careful.
Thank you.
We will continue with the report of Superintendent of Schools.
All right. Good evening again, everyone. All right, so I just want to open with a few highlights from around the district. So on Saturday, March 8th, Brockton was honored at the MABE Conference, which stands for Multi-State Association for Bilingual Education Northeast, as one of the leading districts for awarding Language Opportunity Coalition Biliteracy Pathway Awards and for awarding the Seal of Biliteracy to multilingual graduates. This recognition reflects our commitment to fostering biliteracy and ensuring that our students' languages are seen as strengths and not barriers. And this is an area where Brockton has always been a leader, and so it's really exciting to see that we are awarded in this way. But I just want to mention that even back when I was in a different district, I remember coming here and visiting Brockton to see the George School and to see all of the amazing work that was happening here. So Brockton has always been and continues to be a model in this work. In fact, I believe the George hosted Stoughton today as they wanted to look at our world language program. Also, earlier this month, the Special Education and Bilingual Offices teamed up to offer professional development to certified staff that focuses on the new state individualized education plan format and how it affects general education teachers. So thank you to Diane Davis and Michelle Lanner for leading this in-depth professional development program, and to all of the dedicated educators who took part in this important session. Congratulations to our BHS gymnasts who, along with their teammates on the combined team with the Cardinal Spellman and Stoughton High School, placed 5th in the New England Regional Competition in Connecticut earlier this month. Newton North was one of the other 2 teams from Massachusetts, and while they did win the meet, a Newton North parent actually reached out to Kevin Caro to let him know how impressed he was by the Boxers team, noting that they compete with an energy and focus unlike that of any other team he's seen. And while he said he was rooting for Newton North, of course, he noted how fun the BHS team was to watch and that he found it hard not to root for us. So that's high praise from your competition. So congratulations to the whole team and Coach Noel St. Louis. The BHS Drama Club will have the opportunity to defend their state championship after they advanced through the semifinal round this past Saturday right here at BHS. Their production of The Fabulous Fable Factory is moving on to the state finals in the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild State Festival. The finals will be held Saturday, March 29th at 4 p.m. at the Back Bay Event Center in Boston. This also marks the 9th time in 10 years that BHS has advanced to the finals. So break a leg to our Boxers. Over the course of the first couple of weeks of March, BHS students have had a chance to really dive into the world of financial aid as they think about how they'd like to continue their education after high school. First, we welcomed members of the Healy-Driscoll administration, including Secretary of Education Patrick Tutwiler, who stopped by BHS for their last stop on their financial aid roadshow. Secretary Tutwiler and our other guests discussed the various financial aid opportunities that are available for students and encouraged them to fill out the FAFSA form. Students who want to learn more about this should visit mass.gov/student aid. Then last week, we welcomed back Dr. Anthony J. Davis and his team from Livingstone College and HBCU in North Carolina, who once again surprised qualifying BHS seniors with on-the-spot acceptances to Livingstone and awarded presidential scholarships that would allow them to attend Livingstone for no out-of-pocket cost. 29 students left with the opportunity for a full ride to Livingstone, and we're so grateful for Livingstone's continued partnership as this year marked their second visit to BHS for this incredible purpose, and we hope to continue to see them each spring. Last Friday was Pi Day, so it was March 14th, 314, which several schools celebrated with special treats and events. At Champion, teacher John Towle brought in pumpkin pies for students to enjoy. At BHS, Chartwell's offered up samples of shepherd's pie, and at the Davis, students took part in a contest to see who could memorize the most numbers of pie and a pie eating contest. BPS hosted a third successful literacy night at the Children's Museum in Easton last week. So far, we've welcomed 150 students and parents in pre-K and kindergarten, and we have a fourth installment coming up on April 11th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. We've also been lucky to have student translators from Brockton High School who have come out to support these incredible events, which allows students to explore the wonders of reading in a fun environment. And also, speaking of literacy, coming up next month, BPS and the Brockton Public Library are partnering for a full week of activities for the youngest children in our community. April 5th through 11th will be the week of the young child at the Brockton Public Library, with activities each day focused on fun and enriching activities for children up to age 6. The dates and activities are listed on the screen, but you'll see there's a wide range of activities focused on everything from fitness to art to music and sharing stories. So families can register in advance by calling 508-894-1431 or emailing vrodriguez@cobma.us. The link on there actually does not work, so you can ignore that. And when this is posted on the website, that will not be on there. So it will be accurate that the two methods to register are calling or emailing. And just also as an aside, we do have a new website that I mentioned at our last meeting, but on that website are also docked all of the superintendent updates and any presentations that I make to City Council or otherwise, so that anybody from the community can see them. And that brings me to the end of my presentation.
Members of the committee, any questions for Superintendent relative to that? Seeing none, we'll continue to move on the agenda.
So item C is the finance update, so which we have on here monthly. So we actually have two different items under here. So first, the review of grants quarterly report by Cam Jackson, and then we also, after that, will have the Open Architects presentation for the new budget dashboard. So at this time, I'd like to invite up Cam Jackson. There she is.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, school committee members, Superintendent Tiliani, and Mayor Sullivan. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm so excited to continue letting you know what we've been doing in our grants office since our last update. So thank you so much for having me. Okay. So since our last time meeting, the grants department has maintained commitment to a continuous improvement. We have maintained our commitment to on-site visits with grant facilitators to gain a deeper understanding of their unique challenges and administrative workflows. By continuing these one-on-one meetings, we've been able to fine-tune our approach, ensuring that facilitators receive the targeted guidance they need to navigate their grants efficiently. One major area we've been focusing on in our facilitator training is the new procurement process. We recognize that these changes have added new complexities to our grant spending, and we're committed to ensuring that every facilitator and their department head has the tools and knowledge they need to maintain their grants within the updated guidelines. In addition to supporting facilitators, we are proactively reaching out to every grant facilitator regarding their current status of their grant budgets. Since it's the last quarter of the fiscal year, we're sending out their budgets probably bi-weekly just to let them know of their spending. So this breakdown provides a picture of how grant funding is allocated across key areas that directly impact our students and staff. So from literacy programs and early college initiatives to professional development for our educators, our grant department is committed to securing resources that enhance learning opportunities, support career pathways, and strengthen the overall educational experience of our district. As of today, we have secured $29.2 million in grant funding for this fiscal year. And on the chart here, it's just categorized into the different categories that our grant support. So we have the Office of Exceptional Learning, Technology or IT, Student Support Services, which mostly encompass student emotional learning or social emotional learning programs and grants, professional development, operations and facilities, music and arts, food service support, early college, early childhood education, community schools and enrichment, career and technical education, adult academic career services and support, and also academic support and literacy. Oops, sorry. So while the grants office continuously works to secure funding for the district, several grants have already made a meaningful impact on our students, families, and the broader community. These funds directly support Brockton's priorities by enhancing academic achievement through literacy programs, STEM initiatives, and early college support, expanding career and technical education to prepare students for workforce activities and opportunities, investing in student wellness and support services to address mental health, attendance, and special education needs, improving facilities and technology to create safer and more efficient learning environments for our students, and providing professional development to strengthen educator effectiveness and student outcomes. So I will go forward and highlight. So this is one of the grants that I will highlight tonight. This is the grant coming from the Downey School, supporting the Downey Ducks, Educators Making a Difference. These photos showcase students at the Downey School benefiting from a grant provided by Educators Making a Difference. This grant has supported the addition of new books in the school library, ensuring that the collection reflects the diverse backgrounds and cultures of our students and their families. By creating a more inclusive environment, we are fostering a love for reading and strengthening the connection between students and their education. Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen this picture already. The Mass Cultural Council has awarded grant funding to 8 schools through the Creative Festival and Project Grant, providing students with immersive arts, cultural, and wellness experiences across Brockton. So Brockton High School, Davis School, East, and Promise will be creating school murals or hosting a photo art gallery walk to celebrate creativity and student expression. East and Champion has already hosted their live art assembly with Rob Surratt, a speed painter, in which we've seen pictures previously. Ashfield and Raymond are planning their field trip to the aquarium, Museum of Natural History, and the Museum of Illusions, which I believe they'll be going on Thursday. And Brockton Therapeutic Day School will be using their funding to establish a bee farm, providing hands-on environmental and sustainability education to their students. And the Kennedy School will be creating calm spaces in classrooms to promote student wellness, mindfulness, and emotional regulation. As you guys are also familiar from our MA Farming Fresh grant, MA Farming Fresh has provided an exciting opportunity to introduce mushroom cultivation and food growing initiatives for our students. Through this program, students are actively involved in cultivating mushrooms, learning about the science behind sustainable food production. They're experiencing hands-on culinary experiences, allowing them to try new recipes and even create their own using the food that they grow. This initiative encourages healthy eating, sustainability, and agricultural education, giving students real-world skills and a deeper understanding of food systems. Okay, so moving on, we have made updates to our grant manual. The district has been undergoing changes in our procurement process, as you know, which has impacted the grant office as well. To ensure full compliance with the state procurement laws, we have been actively working alongside the business department to align grant purchases with updated procurement policies. We've been providing training and guidance to staff on implementing these revised procedures. And we've also been ensuring that all grant-related purchases follow the appropriate procurement process thresholds and approval process. So as you guys can kind of see, there's steps that we have to guarantee our facilitators make through their purchasing and procurement process. We have to verify that purchases comply with grant terms. We're required for purchases over $10,000 to obtain vendor quotations. Vendor selection and approval is based on cost, quality, and service standard. Purchase order and contracts, POs must be issued before placing orders, and contracts over $10,000 will require the mayor's signature. Receiving and documentation, facilitators are required to maintain detailed records, invoices, and bid documentation to follow the procurement process. Okay, so strong collaboration, effective spending, and meaningful impact. Through continuous collaboration, communication, and consistency, we are proud to report that the last quarter of the school year is on track for timely and appropriate grant spending. Grant funds are being allocated efficiently, ensuring that resources are maximized for student success. Our dedicated grant facilitators and staff have worked tirelessly to implement impactful programs across our district. And as we move into the spring, the community will see even more visible results in grants that we have secured, whether through new initiatives, enhanced programs, or critical student support services. This progress reflects the hard work, dedication, and strategic planning that has gone into making these grants work for our students, educators, and the Brockton community. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you very much.
questions?
Any questions from the membership? Mr. Vega, followed by Mr. Gomes, please.
This is fantastic, and I just want to applaud you. In a very short time, you've managed to pull everything together, get us the information that we need, and most importantly, spend the money that, or help, our district spend the money that we receive in these grants. With that in mind, with recent changes in administration, have we as a district lost any grants, or are there grants that we regularly tap into that we will not be able to tap into going forward?
So as of right now, we haven't lost any grants due to what's happening in our agency or in our time right now. But we are going to meetings, actually having meetings next week with the state and different federal agencies that will give us more information on the status of our federal grants, just so we know how to plan moving forward. So once I get that information, I will definitely talk to Superintendent Tiliani, and we will let you guys know what the status of that information is. It's hard to say right now, but we're just keeping in constant communication with our liaisons and our reps from the state and the federal agencies that we work with.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the work you're doing, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. Mr. Gomes, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It seems that from the last time you were here, the numbers just keep going up. It feels like we're elevating our, grant searching and application process, which I appreciate. I had a few questions. As far as deciding which schools receive the grant, is that something that we do on our end, or is it when the grant is being awarded, or when we are applying on behalf of individual schools?
Right. So Usually the state grants that we have, they usually support multiple schools. So I'll work with the assistant superintendent at that point. And at that point, we'll find either a school in need or sections of schools in need that will be supported by this grant. We will work with department heads in terms of writing the grant. So we will literally horn in on where there's need for this department right now. So for example, in social emotional learning, working with John Snellgrove, we understood that they might have needed different trauma-informed response practices or different staff to even train their staff on how to respond to different forms of trauma. So just understanding that aspect, we was able to write the grant to try to gain that support that he needed, and he was able to get the grant, so.
Okay. And
Just-
how well are we looking into every school to make sure, you know, we're not leaving any stones unturned, and as far as, you know, this school might be needing assistance, but we have not noticed that that's the case?
I think as of right now, like, we have a good on trying to get every school the resources that they need. For me, I in constant communication with our assistant superintendents every time there's a grant opportunity that comes out, just so we know what focus to hone in on for the grant. So it's, right now, I can say that from the grants that we have, from the 29.2 million, that every school and every piece, every part is getting a piece. And that's even more why I broke it down into the categories, so we can see that within those pieces, within those schools, that the facilities are being taken care of, health services are being taken care of in those schools, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Another question, how would you categorize the majority of our grants as far as being, you know, state grant or federal grant?
So I would say 2/3 of our grant funding is probably from federal.
The reason I was asking is just to see, again, you know, how, when things, you know, change or when they become effective, how it will impact us, depending on whether or not majority of those are federal,
Right.
you know. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. Ms. Oliver, followed by Mr. Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I want to take time to say thank you. I think you're doing a great job there, especially how we started and where that department was, the chaos, and us giving back so much money back. And I really like to hear the fact that we're using all the money and putting it to work for our students. I do like all the different grants, and especially all the money that's coming through to us, especially our city. For our students, it's greatly appreciated, all the hard work that you and your team is doing, and also being proactive to make sure. I do like the fact that you're going to have a meeting with the state leaders to basically see how we can do it in the state of where we are right now, that they are trying to take everything federally from us. How this administration is basically gutting the education department and taking everything they can. If they could take the bathroom sink with it. But I do appreciate all the hard work and everybody just working together to make sure that we are not, you know, missing out on any grants that can basically benefit our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Oliver. Mr. Sullivan, please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I'm not sure if you remember, last year, we had to return a lot of the grant money. And somehow it wasn't being spent, or somebody wasn't watching where it was going. Is there somebody in your office, or do you do it to make sure all the money is being spent? So there is no payback to somebody?
So right now, I'm actually running reports in Munis and giving it to our facilitators bi-weekly, seeing how it's our last quarter of the fiscal year. So we are keeping in touch with our facilitators often to let them know what is their accounts, what is spending, do we need to make an amendment now that we have time before it's our last end of the year, just so we can spend down our funding. So in terms of that, we are talking to our facilitators constantly just to make sure that they are in progress and in track on making sure their accounts are closed by the end of the year.
Do you see anything in your graphs? I know you had one graph up here, that we're going to have to pay money back, or is everything going to be spent this year?
I'm hoping as of today that everything will be spent. We're on track for spending as of today, so yes.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Any additional questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate what you're doing every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I do just want to bring up, too, that we have monthly meetings with DESE. that include our internal BPS team, and then I know we have regular meetings that also include the city side. And one of the main areas that they check in on us about is the grant funding, because that was an area that needed to be cleaned up. And I will say that at our last two meetings, they asked the two grant folks on the DESI call, are there any issues with the grants? How are we doing on the grants? And both times they've been like, nope, we're perfect on grants. So it's really a great thing to hear. So that we really have made such progress. So thank you so much again to Cam Jackson. All right, our next presentation is by TJ Plant, who is our Open Architects consultant, and he's going to be presenting to us the budget dashboard.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So I'm going to share, so just to give it some background before I dive into the budget dashboard / report that we developed on behalf of the school committee. So in recent meetings, it became clear that, the monthly reports that we've been doing to the school committee, we could actually automate that using Munis data. And so with the leadership of the mayor, the vice chair, and certainly the superintendent, that we kind of talked about it in a meeting. I'm like, hey, we can do that. And so we can create, or we have created, and we can set up every school committee member to have an account to log into this report daily. So we take your data from Munis and it updates daily. So if you wanted to get into it, you could get into it every day. If you wanted to get into it, weekly, monthly, or just, it's going to be something that, so it's a powerful tool that gives you the ability to see into your budget. I'll share now. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
All right, so we're going to create an account for everyone on the school committee. This is created specific for the school committee, just so it's high level. So, but there's also drill down capabilities, and I'll go through it. Right now, we have it broken out the way the school budget is adopted: net school spending versus non-net school spending. You can see the original budget as adopted. We know the 7.2 and change was transferred in as a net school spending carryover, and the revised budget. We know the current actuals and the encumbrances that exist and what's remaining. So the key part of this is you can do it by department and drill in, and you can see what's going on as like by department or school. You can see what's going on, and we've created a number of these. But then you go in and we look at things as personal services, which is salaries and wages and overtime, and OTPS, which is just the ordinary maintenance of kind of running a department. Other than it stands for other than personal services, but we could change all this if the vernacular is not what you want. But you can go into any of these departments and see, all right, so your AP and IB, you have just a small amount for OTPS. So that's just to probably buy curriculum stuff. So we have that where you can go into any of these departments, any of these schools, and you can see kind of what the budget is. And then we have the filters. So I have selected all. So now if I just said I want to look at non-net, which has been, high level, you can see these $11 million originally appropriated by the city council. The $6 million moved in. 17 is the total. Spent 12, so we know we have to look at that, and I know the superintendent presented on that last night. And then there's different encumbrances. But I can drill into that and say, okay, community engagement, it's a line item in your budget. I don't know if you're going to use it again, but you didn't have any. But facilities, we have personal services for facilities. We have personal services for traffic. Transportation is the big one, as we know. And this is what it looks like. And this tells you how it's spent and where you're at. Another thing that's happened is adult learning and community schools. So 11 million was appropriated by the city council, 9.9, and I'll show that to you in a minute, made it to transportation and plus the 6 million. So all of this ties out to your budget, but you can filter and play around as much as you want. So I'm going to clear the filter. And now I'm going to go to department type. So we broke it out over department and school, just so you can see kind of what that looks like. And these departments are pretty much central office and some of the other different areas. And you can go in and see the same data: personal services, OTPS, grants. But that one has nothing in it. But health and human services, what that looks like, 3.9, and you can see original budget, money moving in, revised budget, current year spending as of last night, encumbrances as of last night, your available, and then your percent available. So this gives you a nice snapshot of how the budget looks for the school department, depending on what you're looking at. So say you want to go into utilities. It gives you a nice snapshot of, hey, 8.4 million is budgeted for utilities. You spent 3.9, and this leads to, and you have 2 million encumbered. So there's definitely questions. You're like, okay, where are we on utilities, and how is this going to work? And this leads leadership, the superintendent and business folks, to ask the right questions to understand what this means. I'll clear the filter for that. You could do it by school. Is what we've developed it by school, so you can go in by school and say, okay, how much have we budgeted for Brockton High School? The original budget was 34 million and change. They added 781,000, and the revised budget is 34.8. Current year's actual is 19 million, and there's a small encumbrance. So these are all things, and then you look at it further, salaries, and then other than salaries. So let me clear that one. And then you can look at it here by division. Like if you want to go through, and I don't need to open this one up necessarily unless you want me to, and you want to go into all these different like instructional technology, well, I'll click at that one. 401,000. Informational technology. All of these are just filterable to be able to understand what's going on in these different accounts. And I will gladly do a training. Like, let's look at, you can look at operations. You can look at school. Like, so it's really just interactive for folks that use it. And right now, the superintendent, the chief compliance officer, for lack of a better title, and the CFO and the budget director have access to this, and I believe the vice chair has access to it as well. We're going to open this up to everybody. And if you want to look at salaries only, you can get salaries by location for everything. So then we decided to do one for all funds for transportation, because transportation has been a hot topic, as we all know. And so we broke out all the costs related to transportation. So I'll scroll to the bottom. You can see 23 million was spent in fiscal 24. 9.9 was appropriated. They added the 6 million with the transfer. 15.9 is there, and the current year is 11, and you have a remaining balance of 3.8 million. We know that may not make it to the end of the year, and I know we've had these conversations, but this is all filterable as well to say, all right, we want to look just at yellow bus transportation and private providers. And this pops up. And then you can look at it as this is how much is set aside. And this allows us to ask the questions about encumbrances. It allows us to ask questions about the services that are being provided and the cost. And then if you just want to look at everything, or you just want to look at salaries, you want to know when you're going into negotiations, like what are we going to look at? We have the amount for security guards, and we have bus drivers, and we have the dispatchers, and we have overtime. And all this leads to questions that we can ask as it relates to the overall operating budget. And then you can dig in even further and look at, do you want to look at McKinney-Vento? Do you want to look at private? Do you want to look at out of district? Do you want to look at all that stuff? So this is a dynamic tool that is designed for the school committee, specifically the school committee, but anyone can have it, that the superintendent and you folks want. But all of you are going to get access to this to be able to log in and take a look at it. So I know that was quick. I know you guys got a long meeting. I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts. Happy to answer anything as it relates to what I just presented.
Yeah, TJ, I just want to thank you again when you showed it to myself and Dr. Tahiliani and the vice chair and Solicitor Bridges and Troy Clarkson and the team. I mean, I think my response was, this is awesome. I mean, it was labor intensive for you and your team to do, but it's real time. The updates are real and they're tangible. So again, I think this is definitely a tool in the toolbox that all of us can use, not just elected officials, but citizens in Brockton as well that can look day to day where we are. So before we open up, I just want to personally thank you and your team again. I'm going to open up for any questions for Mr. Plant. I'm going to go to, I'll go to Mr. Sullivan followed by Mr. Vega.
Hello, TJ.
Hello, Mr. Sullivan. How are you?
Good. I know you said it a couple of times, it's going to be available to us. When is that going to be available to us?
I just need to get the email addresses that you prefer to use to get access. You will get a welcome email from Open Architects to be able to log in and do everything I just showed you and play around in it. So if there's a city or school committee email, that's preferred, but if there's a other email that you need, we can do anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Vega, please.
Mr. Sullivan got my question.
Question. Any other questions? Mrs. Sullivan, please.
Thank you for the report. I was just looking on the website today, the Brockton Public Schools website, and I noticed there was a lot of updates on the budget, and people can go in, citizens can go in and look at the budget and how much is left on each line item. So what you just explained will give us more than this budget report on the website.
Yes, it will. So this is a dynamic tool that, depending on how we want to roll it out as a school committee and a school system, this is a dynamic tool that can allow all the drill down capabilities. I mean, this is one designed specifically for oversight and review by the school committee. We have 4 or 5 other ones that dig into the detail for the business office and the superintendent and her team to be able to look at things in real time that is quicker and more maneuverable than say Munis is.
Okay, so will we still have those other reports up there even after we get this?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This is in addition to the other reports that exist that I know the superintendent's been working on. This is just an enhanced version of ability to get data for folks that want to mine the data and look at it and ask questions and stuff. So.
Thank you. That's a lot more information, so that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Any additional questions? Again, TJ, just thank you very much to you. And, it's not just you, it's your team behind the scenes as well that come on Zooms with us. And again, we will continue to work with you because, number one, you're the expert. But you had mentioned last year about this dashboard, and I know it was a work in progress, but now it's here and it's come to reality. So kudos to you and thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary. I'll show you the other ones next time we have a little more time. I know you got a long agenda. I appreciate everything.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Take care.
Mr. Vice Chairman, please.
So just to piggyback off of this, I know we have weekly meetings and check-ins with finance folks. So as Mr. Sullivan, one of your questions about the grants, are we spending it down? So this is one of the tools that's in real time that if you want, obviously our oversight over the budget, you can log right in and look where we are with the grants, and those questions can, more eyes than just one that, of monitoring where we are. So it's in real time, so it's actually linked to Munis. So every time, every day, something is changed on there, they spend money, it's automatically updated on that, and you can break it down. So, but we'll work together with the superintendent and TJ, so all the members can get trained on it, as well as myself. I haven't been trained on it. I just logged in and looked in a little bit, but it's very intensive. And I know the mayor made a suggestion as well, and actually rolling this out citywide, so that, you know, everything is more transparent, you know, where we are with our budget. So, thank you.
Just point of information. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. When we do our retreat, we're going to have TJ give us some additional information on this as well. Again, date to be determined. We haven't booked it yet, but just to let you know, I mean, this wasn't a one-off, so thank you. We'll continue. Thank you.
Before we move on to item D, I did want to just invite up Cam Jackson one more time. She had one more announcement to make.
Welcome back.
Okay,
That
I'm
was
so
quick.
sorry. I forgot to mention to you that through the partnership that we've had in the grants office with Chartwells, we have provided you guys each with a mushroom kit to take home.
Thank you.
So grow your mushrooms with your children and your families and enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If it was that easy, I would have so much more.
For item D, which is the approval of the unpaid invoices, I respectfully request that we postpone that item until the April 1st meeting after our accounts review subcommittee.
Members of the committee, can we honor that request, please? What's the will of the committee? Let's make a motion on that, please.
Motion to move the approval of unpaid invoices to
April 1st.
April 1st meeting.
Second.
So there's a motion made by Ms. Oliver. I'm going to give it to Mr. Gomes, properly seconded by Mr. Gomes. We will postpone that matter, which is the approval of unpaid invoices, until April 1st. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. If you oppose, raise your hand. That passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item E, I would also like to move request to postpone the approval of the chief financial officer until the April 1st meeting. However, I would like to say that we did go through an interview process. We have a very highly qualified candidate. The interview panel included members of the school committee, members of the CFO from the city side. There were actually multiple interview rounds. And so we are currently in negotiations with our hopeful CFO. And so at the next meeting on April 1st, you will be able to approve not only the hire, but the negotiated contract.
We could, if we could continue and postpone this to April 1st at the request of the superintendent, what's the will of the committee? Motion, please.
Motion to move till April 1st.
Yeah, Mr. Sullivan made the motion. It was properly seconded by Mr. Sullivan. We will postpone that matter, which is the approval of the chief financial officer, until April 1st. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. If you oppose, raise your hand. It passes.
Could I just ask a
Oh,
question?
yes.
So on the interviews for the I didn't know we were doing interviews for a CFO, so I don't think that was opened up to the whole committee to sit on the board to interview.
So that is correct. So because that is not a school committee level position, so you all do the hiring of the superintendent, and then I do the hiring of everyone else. So what I did for that particular process is we actually invited specific members in to the interview panel. So we had two rounds, I believe, and so as the first round was internal with members of the leadership team and other members of the finance office. And then the second round, I did open it up just because that person would be working with the city side and would be working with the school committee, that I did invite in the vice chair and the city CFO. It was something that I had mentioned to them during our weekly finance meetings with TJ and said, would it be appropriate? Again, I know that normally these processes are handled in within BPS, but as you know, I've tried to include different school committee members on different interview panels just to make sure that we're getting some input from everyone. And so, for example, the director of strategy and compliance, I wanted members of the school committee on that one. So that was why I included at least one member.
Just because in the past it's been opened up and then we pick, a few members to, even though we're not in charge of that thing, we don't pick the CFO, but just so it's evenly equal to all members to be included on interview teams?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, because in the previous ones that I invited, I just kind of asked specific members who I thought maybe, so I wasn't aware that there was a protocol. So I'm happy to follow whatever protocol the school committee wants.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tehiliani. Mr. Sullivan, please.
Just a question. TJ Plant, does he work for Brockton Public Schools?
Yes,
or Open
BPS,
Architect?
he's a consultant for BPS. Yes. He originally was paid by DESI, and then BPS, when that contract expired, BPS took him on as a consultant. It's not him individually, it's the company, Open Architects.
So Open Architects works for BPS now?
Yes. They have for over a year now.
Oh, I thought TJ Plant came on board himself.
Oh, no, he works for a company, an independent company called Open Architects. He
Okay,
does
and
not
that's
work.
that's still
Open
work-
Architects itself is a consultant for Brockton Public Schools. They may at some point also be a consultant for the city, the community compact, but that's to be determined. But they are a consultant hired by BPS.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he worked for Brockton Public
No,
Schools.
he's an employee of Open Architects.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions relative to that? We'll continue, please.
Item F is the approval of the 2025-2026 BPS academic school calendar.
Will the committee on that? We went over this 2 weeks ago. Will the committee, please? Is there a motion to accept it?
Motion to accept the 2025-2026 BPS academic school calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. This is a
Second.
form of a motion. It was properly seconded by Mr.
On
Vega
that-
on the
So
motion.
there's two calendars, so,
That's right,
Yeah,
because
we
one
just-
had November, one didn't.
so there's,
That's right.
which calendar you motion to approve? Because one, I know Representative Azak isn't here, but I know she's a strong proponent
Yeah.
of the second calendar because it actually calls for our schools to be closed during the
General election.
general election, so, but I believe we only did that once. I'm not sure that's something that's been going on, so I know she's not here, but it's the will of the committee.
Should
We always just put them in, we always have the preliminary, because, you know, it's nonpartisan in Brockton. So the city elections is preliminary, state elections are primary. Schools always close that day, right? Always in September. And the vice chair is correct. It was closed last time because it was a presidential, and we expected a mass amount of cars in the parking lot. So calendar one is September only closed, and school would be open in the general election November. The second calendar would be, it would be closed September and November.
I think it's always been closed on the November date. The September one is the one that we're talking about closing it in September too, right?
Yeah, I reversed it.
Isn't that right?
I reversed it.
It's always been closed in
Yeah, yeah.
November for the,
I-
like the last
yeah.
5 years.
Right, I reversed it. The general is
Yeah,
usually closed
so
primary.
it's reverse what?
Thank you.
So September, it would be another day, if I could.
Yeah, are you all set right now for 1 second so I can go to another?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll go to you, Mr. Sullivan, please.
My concern is it's another day off that has to be made up at the end of the year. And my concern is that June, you don't really get much done with children, and it's warm out, and they want to
wanna
be
go to
out of
the beach.
school, they want to start their summer vacations, and so don't the teachers, they deserve it, they work hard all year, and the superintendent. So that's my concern. I know it is a safety issue. I did try to reach out to some of my principals that have voting at those schools, but I didn't hear back from them. So I was looking for more input on it, but I didn't really get that. So I'm kind of in the air of what to do. Superintendent, what would be your, opinion on this?
I actually
If
think
you wanna
that's-
say.
I actually think that's a great idea to actually go back and for me to collect input from the principals.
I was gonna say if we wanted to postpone the.
Yeah, do you want to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw the motion.
Do you want to withdraw your second, Jorge? We withdraw your second. So there's no
I'd like to
motion on the
withdraw
floor, it's been withdrawn. Now can we entertain a motion to postpone until April 1?
Motion to postpone approval of
That's right,
the
April 1. Yeah.
2025-2026 academic calendar until April 1st.
April 1. Motion was made by Ms. Gomes, properly seconded by Ms. Oliver, and just on the motion, just for the minutes, again, superintendent will check with the principals at the schools that have polling locations, report back to us, and we can take a formal vote April 1. All in favor of that, kindly raise your hand. If you oppose, raise your hand. It's going to be postponed until April 1. Are there any matters that You're aware, Superintendent, refer to subcommittee?
No. not at
Okay.
this time.
Any members of the committee, anything? Subcommittee? Yes? I'm sorry. I'm just
I
trying to
just
write
had
that down.
one.
Yes,
If we
Mrs.
could have
Sullivan.
if we could have an update on the Boys and Girls Club, because I know you had a meeting, Mayor.
We were supposed to have a meeting today. It was brought to my attention that Attorney Mello, who again is the legal counsel to the body as a whole, right, school committee body. Peter wasn't able to join, Vice Chair wasn't able to join. We had a meeting in the superintendent's office 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We will have another conversation with them on Friday, but the facilities committee, this subcommittee needs to look at the new plan. There's gonna be a new plan generated. I know Ken Thompson, I saw an email, Ken Thompson has authorized it. So it is a work in progress, but as a courtesy, they have asked me as the mayor if we could give them an update, so we will have a Zoom that was canceled today, and it will be Friday. It'll be a quick Zoom, we'll give some updates, their attorney will be on, Attorney Mello will be on, Attorney Bridges will be on, and we'll just continue the process. Vice
Okay,
Chair,
thank
anything
you.
else on that? That was pretty
No,
good.
I mean, there's, the firm was just authorized this week, and they're updating those plans, and the Boys and Girls Club made their proposal, which was already proposed to this committee, and there's some other kinks that the attorneys are working on, city side, school side. And then from that meeting, we will have an executive session where all the members can voice their concerns and their needs and asks, and then we will schedule a further subcommittee of the facilities and take it on.
Mr. Vega, just out of courtesy, professional courtesy to you, I know that you would like it on an agenda. You've mentioned it several times. Believe me, we hear you. We are not in any way trying to offend you. But it will go on to a regular scheduled subcommittee meeting, and it will come out either favorable or unfavorable, but it will eventually get onto an agenda of this body.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
Because I'm interested in it too, so.
We'll go on to agenda 4, consent agenda. We have a pretty lengthy one. Anybody want to take any of these out, or what's the will of the committee? We could take them collectively, but it is A through J. Anything that should be taken out, or could we take them collectively?
Motion to take it collectively.
Form of a
Items
motion,
A,
Mr.
B,
Sullivan?
C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J.
Okay, it's a form of motion, second.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan, properly seconded by Mrs. Sullivan. This is the best part of my night, huh? I get to read all these. A is the acceptance of the donation of the Gilmore Elementary School, which is the Planet, say Subaru? Jeez, yeah, Subaru, I'm sorry. B is acceptance of donation BPS K through 8 Youth Engineering Solutions, yes, kits and PD workshops. C, approval of minutes, November 19, 2024, regular school committee meeting. D is the approval of the minutes for December 3rd, 2024, regular school committee meeting. E is the approval of the minutes, December 17, 2024, regular school committee meeting. F, approval of minutes, January 7, 2025, organizational regular school committee meeting. G is the approval of the minutes, January 21, 2025, regular school committee meeting. H is the approval of rate increases, Smart Start, extended day. I is the request for authorization to accept proposal and expenditure of funds, Public Health Models of Gun Violence Grant Program, in the amount of $99,000 even. And then it is the MLSC Biotech Apprenticeship Program, in the amount of $50,813.69. And finally, J is the acceptance of human resource notifications, appointments, non-certified, personal actions, leaves of absences, resignations, and retirements. We have a motion on the floor, properly second. All in favor, kindly raise your hand.
On
On the motion?
the motion, on item I, which is the Models for the Gun Violence Grants Program, I know Ms. Jackson's still here. My only question is the Brockton Police Department or any law enforcement agency involved in this grant as far as implementing those safety measures, or is this something that the school district is just taking the lead on gun violence?
Captain Picaro, Officer Mosley, do you have any, anything to offer relative to this question?
No, Mayor, not on that. I could probably refer that to the chief.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain.
Okay. I just wanted to see what involvement that, obviously this is for gun violence, that, we do have our law enforcement professionals involved in how this is actually implemented. Those are the professionals that deal with this type of stuff.
Members of the committee, Vice Chair does bring up a good point. Tonight's vote will be to accept the expenditures. It doesn't mandate we have to spend it tomorrow, so why don't we do this? We will take a vote on this tonight because we already have a motion on the floor. I will ask Chief Perez in the morning to give a summarization, and it will be forwarded through the superintendent to all of us on the school committee. Does that sound right? Did you have any information on that? Okay. Is
Just
that
a
okay?
correction, Mayor. We
Yes.
already voted on it. It's already done.
Pardon?
We already voted.
No, I know, but just, it was point of information, just to get some information out to the committee. We've accepted it, we voted on it, correct. But the authorization, again, the expenditure is not gonna happen tomorrow,
Right,
so I'll have the Chief Perez reach out to us and give it to us. Hey,
Just a point of information.
point of information, please.
To the vice chair, that it does kind of tell what it's going to do in the background, rationale and associated class on enclosure 10A. Yeah.
No, I understand that, but my question is that there's no law enforcement agency involved in gun violence. Our educators are not trained in gun violence besides getting information and material, so you need law enforcement experience in that to actually make sure they implement something.
I'll get an answer from the
Just
Chief of
information.
Police, Brenda Perez, who's a proud graduate of Brockton High School. I actually had made the motion, we did not get it done yet, there wasn't a formal vote, because I said, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Now it's official, it passes unanimous, and we will get the chief to give us that. We will go on to unfinished business. Number 5, we have A and B. Discussion of potential vote, policy subcommittee meeting, March 11th, 2025, and the discussion potential vote bid review subcommittee meeting, March 18th, 2025. Vice Chairman, please.
Thank you. On March 11th, we met as a policy subcommittee meeting, and we voted unanimously on the competency determination for the class of 2025, which includes the following, which is the English Language Arts, ELA, Mathematics, Science, and Social History, as outlined in the new law that the student has not yet earned the CD must demonstrate mastery in common core skills and competency and knowledge by completing the coursework that's been certified by BPS. In the English, it's full credits earned in equivalent of the last 2 years of English taught at the high school level. In mathematics, it's the full credits earned in the equivalent of at least 2 years of math taught in the high school level. In science, it's full credits earned in one of the lab science courses, which at the high school level, physics, biology, chemistry, technology, and engineering. In social science history, which is full credits earned in equivalent of the United States history course at the high school and high school level. It is important to reiterate this policy for the competency determination, which is one of the components of meeting the graduation requirement. So students also must pass the outline requirement courses that are all earned required credits to qualify for a diploma. So this is one of the areas that school districts across the Commonwealth is gonna have to look at, far as, with the MCAS not being the requirement, even though they still give the MCAS test. So, but as I stated, it was unanimously voted in at the subcommittee, and we just have to finally approve it here.
Form of a motion?
On the motion to approve the BPS competency determination criteria.
Form of a motion made by the Vice Chair, Ms. Rodriguez, properly seconded by Ms. Oliver. If you favor that, please raise your hand. If you oppose, raise your hand. Passes unanimous. Members of the committee, relative to the bid review subcommittee meeting?
Yes, so earlier
Gomes, please.
today, we had a bid review subcommittee meeting. Myself, Jorge Vega, and Mr. Sullivan were present. We had Ken Thompson give an overview of the bids that were submitted in the process overall and answer some of our questions. I believe we all received a copy of the bids that were submitted with the specific amounts, and the recommended vendor by Ken was Dali Roofing, which we unanimously approved and recommended that it be moved forward for the whole committee to approve.
That's the form of a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Gomes, probably second on the motion, but just for the minutes, it was probably seconded by Mr. Gomes, seconded by Mr. Sullivan. On the motion, Mr. Sullivan.
Okay, so all members didn't get a copy of the bids, so for us to vote on the bids, we need to, even if we're not on the subcommittee, we need to get a copy of the bids so that we're seeing what we're voting on. I never even saw the bids, so I
It
don't-
was included in the package that we received on
I didn't get
last,
a packet of that.
with your agenda and stuff, no?
No, I didn't get the bids, I only got the agenda. That was it.
It should be stapled with the agenda.
Yeah, this is what I copied off. It's just the agenda. So if we're gonna be voting on it, the whole committee, we have to see the bids. So,
Doctor?
So my understanding is that it did only go to the members who were on that subcommittee, and
Okay.
that the normal protocol has been for any others who wanted it to request go to the meeting, to attend the meeting and receive it.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Just a point of information,
Yes.
also, the vendor that we did approve to come to the full committee is the lowest bid, in case anybody was wondering.
Thank you for that clarify. That's important to state. Thank you.
Can you just indicate the dollar amount in detail?
Yes, so it's Dali Roofing for $36,100. So it's based on an hourly rate, 2 years, 2-year period, so they charge $95 an hour. Basically, it's a general bid, which means we could use them for any buildings, any school offices that we have that might need some roofing services. Is that?
just,
On the motion?
but it isn't that hard for all members to just get the bids, so we can see the bid, because, I mean, I'm voting on something that I didn't even see. So,
We could, past practice, I concur, and Mrs.
all
Campbell's
committee
been great.
members should have the bids.
Okay.
So,
Going forward, there's no harm, no foul, just to make some extra copies and we can do it.
right, we
Mr.
should all
Vice
get it
Chair.
in the packet.
Mr. Vice Chairman, please.
I did attend the bid open process, which was done at Central Municipal Room, which is also done by the city procurement officer, Mike Morris, Ken Thompson, Jamie, myself, folks from Sarah from the finance office. There was numerous bids. They went through it. It was properly vetted out, and the lowest bid, which was selected, which was obviously sent to this committee for approval, which the bid committee reviewed it and honored that. So, but I mean, if that's at the will of the committee to accept it, and if not, then we can just.
I'm going to call it because we already have a motion that was properly seconded and it's the lowest bid. But I think learning lesson, we could move forward and not follow the past practice, and we could just have photocopies added. I mean, in the past, I concur what was said. If someone was interested in the bid, they'd come here at the meeting. They wouldn't be a voting member, but they'd get the information. But going forward, we could just make some extra copies. But we do have a motion to approve. It was made by Ms. Gomes, probably seconded by Mr. Sullivan. All in favor of that, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It passes, but we will have the minutes reflect, and we'll just have the bids attached going forward. Superintendent.
May I just ask, is it only the winning bid that is supposed to be distributed? It can be all bids that are,
Submitted, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it should be.
Oh, it is, okay.
Claudio has.
And we do have a list of all, it was 7 bids that were submitted. We
Okay.
have the list of the vendors and the amount.
All right, just want to make sure.
Yeah, because the thing is that the subcommittee sees it, but we didn't even see the bids, the rest of the, so Claudio just
Oh,
showed.
totally
me-
understood. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure,
just
because
so-
I was just wondering why the past practice existed like that in the first place. So that's why I was wondering if there maybe was some kind of restriction, but if there isn't, we could certainly
Well,
change
it's
past
kind of like,
practice.
we want to see more
No,
information after
yeah.
what happened, after what happened
Understood.
with the district. So that's
Yep.
why I'm asking.
Minutes reflect
Yeah.
that. We'll do that. Going on, new business.
One question on the motion.
Okay, we're not on the 6 yet. Yep,
I
go ahead.
just wanted to explain to the superintendent.
Sure.
Normally, it isn't done the same day. It's done like the week later. Today was the same day.
Correct,
Normally, it's a week later or so.
Correct.
Sometimes 2 weeks later.
correct. Thank you. Thank you for the point of information. Number 6 is new business. Any new business from the membership? The only new business I had, I was thinking about it today, so public safety building, downtown Brockton will open in the summer. Now, summer is still September, so, but it will open, and that's gonna free up classroom space here because the IT is gonna leave Brockton High School, right? They're gonna relocate, it's 1 building, 4 departments, so as a body, working with the superintendent, we might just wanna think about that. I don't know how much space right now they're currently using up in the core. but they are gonna vacate that to go, the public safety building. It's just something maybe facilities should chat about, but I just wanted to bring that up again. So that would be going into the new academic year. Okay. Any other new business? Seeing none, we'll move on.
I just had one thing.
Mrs. Sullivan,
We're on to new business now.
number 6, please. Yes?
I was just reading today, last night, it was on Facebook, so I don't know if it's true, but it said something about the Brockton Track Club, said that Marciano Stadium was gonna be done over. So I was just wondering, because the committee doesn't know. So,
Is it?
they said Marciano Stadium, the turf was gonna be replaced.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
So our last facility subcommittee, the athletic director did mention that there's a high probability that that field will have to be taken offline if it wasn't addressed. And that's gonna impact all the sports there. So it's a resurface which the facilities director, Ken Thompson, with the athletic director and activists of the company, drafting up a bid proposal to resurface that and see what the cost is. So they are putting it there. But the I'm not saying the superintendent, but the facilities director and the AD wants to make sure that that can happen this year. So the ultimate goal is to make sure that it gets done. I guess they have a time frame, which will probably start in June, probably will happen right after graduation. But the time frame is from June to end of August, so it's a quick renovation. But that's still in the work in progress, which has to come before this committee before it's even approved. So, but right now they're planning on giving those groups the heads up that if it does happen, that the field will be offline throughout the summer, so they can renovate that.
And that's a capital project, but would that be for next fiscal year, July 1, for that budget line item?
I believe so, yes.
Okay,
So,
all right. Thank you for bringing that up,
Then the
Mrs.
committee
Sullivan, so it's due
would have
diligence.
to, it would have to be brought.
yeah, it's a bid that goes out, then
the
it's
full
gonna go back
committee?
to the bid review, and then it comes back for approval, and also working with the city CFO to see how that project is gonna be funded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes new business. We'll go on to school safety and security police liaison. We have Captain Mark Baccaro here. We have Officer Mosley here as well. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Mayor. Another proud Brockton High graduate, 1988.
Brought these halls together, sir.
Yeah, darn right we did. Yeah, he found the fountain of youth. He looks a lot younger than me.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Mark Baccaro from the Brockton Police Department. I'm here tonight because a few months ago, Chief Perez made some reassignments amongst the captains, and one of the duties that she gave me was the Bureau of Auxiliary Services, and the school police fall under that bureau. So she and I both thought it would be a good idea if I attended one of the meetings, introduced myself, said hello, extend any help I can give to you guys, and you know, having said that, I have the safety brief update that, you know, you guys receive every 2 weeks. And what I did was the school police provided this to me, and I kind of went through it today, and I broke it down into like 4 sections. Just thought it might be easier to do it that way. So I have a training section, a meetings, events, and occurrences section, a personnel section, and I'll conclude with like a miscellaneous wrap-up section there. So. Back to trainings, the school police did drone and active shooter training back over the February vacation, and they plan on having another one this Saturday, March 22nd, and I think a couple of the members here may be involved with that. They may participate and view that. That's going to be at the South Middle School, again, this Saturday, drone and active shooter training. The school resource officer refresher training is coming up soon. All the school police officers are also SROs, and they are required to do a 2-day mandatory refresher course, which is a modified version of the basic SRO 40-hour course. They're going to be doing that April 7th and 8th up in Norwood. So the SRO training will be coming up soon for that, the refresher course. One of the things that the school police are going to be doing over the April vacation is the Alert Active Shooter Training. Alert it's an acronym for Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training, Alert Active Shooter Training. It's going to be here April 22nd and 23rd. the MPTC, which is the Municipal Police Training Council. That's the state agency that runs all the police academies and police training. They're coming here. They're going to link up with Lieutenant Banaka and Sergeant Livingston, and they're going to have that training right here at Brockton High. As of right now, the count on deck that we have 10 Brockton police officers that are going to attend that training, 8 school police officers, and 10 Brockton fire personnel. So almost 30 people will be part of that training. So that'll be a good training. So that's it for the training section. Next, I have what I call the meetings, events, and occurrences section. The community-based juvenile justice meetings. Those are ongoing meetings that happen right here every 2 weeks in the principal's conference room. I sat in on one early February, and it's like a collaboration of the district attorney's office, the school police, and school department personnel. And they sit down, and there's a focus on identifying at-risk youth who maybe have gotten into trouble, and they try and figure out, intervention and prevention strategies for these kids. The other thing we have is last week, I'm sure you're all aware of it, it was in the newspaper, the attempted kidnapping report. That incident on March 11th, a Davis School student reported that she was a victim of an attempted kidnapping in the woods near the Davis School around dismissal time. There was a large-scale police response, didn't turn up a suspect. It was later revealed that it was a false report, and as a result of that false report, the student will be charged. Runaways, I'm told there's been a recent uptick in children running away from home. Technically, although it's not a school issue, it does have school ramifications. There's obviously a spillover. So the school police have been very active in assisting, trying to return runaway children home. So, we commend them for their efforts there. Reading and literacy. School offices have teamed up with the district for a reading and literacy focus this month, and school offices have had the opportunity to read to students at both the Gilmore and the South Middle Schools this month, so that's a great thing right there. The third section I have is called personnel. Regarding the police academy, on April 7th, there's going to be a new school police officer recruit. She'll be going to the academy, participating in several months of training, and she'll be joining the school PD upon completion of that training. So that's a great thing. We wish her well, during her academy training. And then the last section I have is just kind of like a catch-all miscellaneous section. Last week, Lieutenant Banaka reached out to me. Some of you may know, I know the mayor knows, but I'm the city's traffic commissioner. So there's some traffic signs here at Brockton High. I believe you said they're 15-mile-an-hour signs that are either faded or outdated, but they need them replaced. The Traffic Commission owns a sign-making machine that we keep down at the DPW. We can make signs at a fraction of the cost of buying them elsewhere from a private vendor. So, and my sign guy, Jamal Andre, down at the DPW Traffic Division, he can make signs that day and have them installed. So, we're going to link up with Ken Thompson and Lieutenant Banaka and see what signs you need made up here at the high school, outside, traffic, parking related, and we'll take care of that for you. Yeah, no problem at all. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. And then the last thing I'll just mention, it was a feel-good thing for me. A few weeks ago, there's a social studies teacher here named Mr. Hazelwood. He emailed me because he had students who had a civics project, and they wanted to include me in on their civics project. So I said, absolutely, it's an honor, So they emailed me questions that were traffic and police related, and I got back to them, and it was a good feeling. It was nice to participate in that, so I was glad to help out. And he said that the questions and answers were great, so that was nice. I was honored to do that, so that's it. That's all I have. Does anybody have anything?
Any questions? Ms. Oliver, please.
Thank you for all the work you guys are doing. I have a quick question. I definitely don't condemn the false report, right? Because it just basically scared everybody as a parent. Are we working with like therapists or social work also to find out what triggered that student to put a false report? And also with the uptake of runaways, what are we doing in the school area side to help this, the students? Because it's been mostly female students, and we see how we can help them, like mentally, or if there's any other issue going on at home. Are we providing the service to basically get to the bottom of it? What's going on?
Yeah, no, those are two great questions. I don't have the answers to those. I can certainly get the answers for you. You know, I can follow up with Lieutenant Banach or Sergeant Livingston tomorrow and see what exactly is going on in each of those situations, you know, the attempted kidnapping and the runaways. And, yeah, we can certainly follow up on that.
Yeah, that'd be great. So if there's anything else that we can help on our side, especially depending on what school they're going, to make sure that they're getting the appropriate service, you know, given to them and their parents, to make sure if there's something more deep, we can get to the bottom of it. Because it's almost looking like a pat, like of all these girls running away. So if we can try to figure out what's going on, and if, you know, just to put an end to it, we just want to make sure they're all safe at all time.
Absolutely, makes sense, sure.
Thank you, Ms. Silva.
Sorry, so without divulging too much information, I do want to let you know that the Selwell team has been on top of it, and there have been follow-ups with each individual case, as there have been, obviously there has been reasoning behind certain things that has been concerning, and so I just want to let you know that yes, there have been appropriate follow-ups for each of them. Some have included the school leadership team, some have included the social emotional learning team. It really is individualized based on the specific case, but there has been follow-up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Silva. Any other questions for the captain? Mr. Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Captain. Nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
On your, I know you mentioned you went to a roundtable in February
Yes,
at the superintendent's, I mean, the
principal's conference room, yes.
conference room. Is there anything brought up at Brockton High about drugs and drugs abuse and vaping at that conference table?
The meeting that I attended, it was just that one meeting. It was a quick meeting that morning. There wasn't a lot on their agenda, but the basic, you know, gist of the meeting, or I guess how the meeting flowed, is the prosecutor from the district attorney's office came in and pretty much provided us updates on what was going on with certain problem students or problem youth with their criminal charges and what was going on with them. But as far as anything specific regarding any drug use or vaping, it didn't come up at that particular meeting.
I was just wondering,
Yeah.
because it seems to be a problem in Brockton.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Any additional questions? I want to personally thank the captain for being here tonight. Also, you know, his day job is he protects and serves, but he comes to a lot of Brockton High events, a lot. So thank you, Mark, for supporting the students.
You're welcome, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Just on police, I just want to let you know I signed 13 conditional offers today for Brockton police officers to go to the academy. Many of those were Brockton High grads. There was one from Cardinal Spellman, 2 from Southeastern Regional. But also, I just want to let you know, when I became mayor at that time, it was Chief Manny Gomes, and the chief and I instituted the cadet program. We mirrored it after Boston. The goal was to have Brockton boys and girls that want to go in law enforcement to get their feet wet and get a feel if that's a career path. We've had a lot of success. Today, out of those 13 I signed, 2 more were cadets. So that brings the number of 6 cadets. 4 are actively Brockton police officers that were homegrown through the cadet program, and then 2 will go into the academy. So again, most of them are Brockton High grads, so it's great. We'll continue to move on. Any announcements on Agenda 8? Any announcements from anybody? Mr. Vega, please.
Mr. Mayor, you made a kind of big announcement last week, and I just wanted to take a second to say thank you for the work you've done on behalf of Brockton.
I'm not dead yet.
I know, we're stuck with you for a couple more months.
I still got 10 months.
But I just want to say thank you for the work you've done on behalf of Brockton, and send a special thank you to your family. You mentioned in your announcement you had a young family when you stepped into the office.
I had none when I first stepped in as Councilor Lodge.
So yeah, so they've made quite the sacrifice, and I appreciate you and your family.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Mrs. Sullivan, please.
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment about that, the cadet program, because I was on the committee when we didn't have that, and the things that I've seen that cadet program can do. Even I had an incident with some people out on the streets, and I had to go in. The cadet helped me when I went to the police station. So they're very caring, and I'd like to thank. Did you say you started that, Mayor?
I did. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. We'll move on. No more announcements? Thanks. Agenda 9, executive session, and I have to read them into the record. We have 2 matters tonight. Agenda 9, executive session, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. As chair, I do so declare that, and that's relative to litigation. And the next matter, executive session, would be Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21-7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law of federal grant and aid requirements, open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21FG, for the purpose of reviewing, approving, and/or releasing executive session minutes. The executive session matter now comes before us. Is there a motion, please, to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
Motion was made by Mr.
Second.
Sullivan, second by Ms. Oliver. I now technically need to call the roll to go into executive session. Mrs. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
Mr. Vega?
Yes.
Ms. Oliver?
Yes.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. We are going into executive session. I have to, as chair, state we will not be coming back in open session. We will go into executive session now. Mrs. Kimball, same room? Thank you.